Hi, everybody. Thank you for joining our registered pathway to United States today. Uh, my name is Elizabeth Maruyama, a founder of immigration consult company named American Visa Advisory. So if you are one of my students here, feel free to let me know as well because we have like the student who want to become a nurse in the US, uh, contacting a lot in the past year. I just would like to introduce you to our partner, and from Guide Journal Global Career. And can you please tell us a little bit about yourself?
Hello everyone. So I'm Anne Leung. I'm originally from Hong Kong. I can go to next slide. Um, and so I'm originally from Hong Kong. I had my Bachelor of Nursing in Hong Kong, and then I worked 3 years in Hong Kong before coming over to the States. Are we recording this Zoom
Yeah,
already?
yeah, we do.
Yeah,
We
okay, okay.
do. Yeah.
Um, so I came to the States in 2020 on a tourist visa for like personal reasons for like visiting someone and then it turned out to I kind of I when while I was in the States there was a special policy from the president that the Hong Kong people who were in the States at that moment can enjoy the deferred and forced departure benefit. It's not like I can stay here and work. So I got my work permit and started working. And I tried to get a EB-3 sponsorship. And that's another story I can tell you later. And it didn't really turn out well. And I learned a lot of lessons through the journey. So that's why it also became one of my passions. I want to share what I learned and I want more nurses to come to the States without all the hiccups and able to transition smoothly in the States. And I ended up having got a green card through marriage to a U.S. citizen. And this is just a picture that a couple weeks ago I was, because I'm doing my Master of Science in Nursing Leadership in Healthcare right now in the States. And there's a practicum project I've been working on, and I presented at a regional conference a couple weeks ago, and people are really excited about the project. That's like a nursing side of development. But so I established Guided Journey Global Careers to provide more coaching services and recruitment for international nurses who want to practice in the States.
Hmm.
Uh,
Yes.
yep,
But
let me know if I'm talking too fast then.
oh yeah, it's okay. It's so good. Thanks to tell us a little bit about yourself today. We really I really I just know from you today that hey, back in the day, Hong Kong citizen can come to the US and obtain a work permit right away. That is new for me. What year is that you come to the US? May I ask those questions as well?
I came in 2020, and that policy came out 2021,
Oh,
I think
that's so
August,
great.
August.
Yeah.
And then they
Yeah.
renewed twice and extended twice.
Okay, okay. But thank you for letting us know that. And yeah, we just excited to get to know about the program. I mean, I recruit nurse in 2024, but our nurse is from Thailand, Philippines, and other country like Iran, but which is right now is on sometimes is during on the facing like different immigration policy we have pausing right now. So I still have a lot of hope that our students who are on F1, even they are F1 student registered nurse or not, can gain something from this. And if they would like to pursue their career path in nurse, so they can have education a little bit more about the career path that you're gonna give information for them today. Mhm.
Okay.
Yes.
Should I start?
Yes. Go ahead.
So So I just want to point out, like, give you some background information about the U.S. National nursing shortage first, because people asking us, so will the shortage be satisfied or whatnot? So I'm giving you some numbers that's from official workforce projection dashboard. So we can see like this year, 2026, for registered nurse in the United States, we're looking at like a total shortage of 263,000. And the shortage is mainly in rural area, not big cities, not New York City, not San Francisco. I mean, there is still some shortage in the metropolitan, but that's probably like a 5% shortage. And for rural, the shortage is mainly in rural area or I would say suburban, but mainly rural area, like 75, we're like short of 25% of nurses, which is talking about like 130,000. And I personally practicing and living in rural areas, so I can experience the shortage myself firsthand. And so that projection is up to 2038, which is 12 years later. We will still experience a shortage of like about 108,000 nurses, and it is still mainly in rural areas. So this is how the labor supply and demand market showing right now. People's been asking, can I find a job in like a big city? It's okay. If you have your work permit already, it is still competitive to get jobs. I've talked to some nurses who came here like a few years ago. They tried to switch jobs and they said the first time they switched jobs, like that was like about COVID time or like a little bit after COVID time. It was pretty easy, like in California. And like for the recent like these 2 years, even if they already have local experience and they still kind of spent months in finding a job. So it's already difficult for local nurses to get a job in the like big cities. So for like our like in immigrant nurses, if you're overseas, it will be really, really hard if you want to get your first job in the big cities. But like, so most of the opportunities are in the rural areas or like when we say rural, it's not that rural, but it's just a little bit
Yes,
far
it's a
away
bit
from the big
far
city.
away from the big city. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So
Oops.
yes, okay. That number is kind of give insider information a little bit because I usually just focus on the number of approval rate of the green card on this category, but not really have a how much is the shortage. I know it's shortage, but I don't know which city and I don't know how much what they say is shortage that mean too. But this is good proof. Yes, you can just go ahead, go to
Okay.
another part that you think is important.
Okay. So when there's a shortage in the US healthcare system, like usually they would hire travel nurses, and other local solution is they try to train more nurses, but you could see the projection is still short by 100,000 nurses. It's not something that can be easily solved. So one of the solution is to hire international nurses. And 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 I don't know if anybody done research on other countries, but the US, from my personal experience and a little bit of like research, US nurses salary and also the work shift is relatively better than other countries, including Australia, Canada, United Kingdom. And that's why it's actually a really good opportunity for nurses to come to the States, and they can also further their career. Like if the people can go into a nurse practitioner, that they can diagnose, they can prescribe treatment to patients, or like they can go into be a certified registered nurse anesthetist. That means
Okay.
they do the anesthesia work, and it's a really probably the highest paid nursing job. And so this is how you can advance your career.
Yes.
And yeah, and I
I
also
talk
had sorry.
oh you I mean I when you talk about the ways and I mean you have compared with other big country like UK, Australia, and that is impressed me as well. My mom was a nurse. My mom is a registered nurse as well. She have multiple friends moved from Thailand to work in the US with EB-3 unskilled. Also her junior colleague. So I know that difference between small country and the big country like the US, but when you compare like Australia is different. Sorry, US even better. I'm just like, wow, that blew my mind.
Yeah, because I originally wanted to go to Australia because my two sisters are there. But then I
Oh,
also learned
okay.
that Australia is a smaller country. I mean, it's still big, but it's relatively smaller compared to US. US have 50 states, which means they have at least 50 big cities that you can go to. Like compared
Yes.
to Australia, that's not a whole lot. And I personally had friends that gone to immigrated to UK and Canada as well. So I know a little bit how nurses' lives over there is like. And I also found this picture of annual mean wage of registered nurse by state in that is statistic from 2023. And you can see the darker the color is the highest wage, and the lighter the color is the lower wages. And and for people who are trying to get the jobs in like a high, like the states in a higher wages is already it's actually a little bit competitive. And think about it as a local nurse, if you're born in the US, maybe if you want to get higher salary as a nurse, you already go to all these states that pay better. So for immigrant nurses, their opportunities are more focused on maybe like Georgia, Florida, Illinois. Actually, I heard about Illinois. That's like where Chicago
Yeah.
is,
Yeah.
and it's like medium to lower wages in the state, but still, registered nurse is still kind of like a I would say middle class-ish. So it's a little bit above. So in my area, like a minimum wage is like 16, $17 in Washington state. So nurses are making close to $40 as a new graduate here in my area. So registered nurse still is still a pretty well paid occupation in the States.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah, we have a lot of information to cover today, so I need to kind of move fast
Yes,
and
okay.
can answer questions. So there's few pathways there for international nurses to work in the States. So the first one, it will be the TN visa. But TN visa is available for Canadian and Mexican citizens only. It's a work visa. I believe it's about 3 years long, and they can extend afterwards. And oh, let me know if you're trying to take pictures or oh.
Oh, I mean, I just gonna cover that we have immigration alternate that who do TN visa for Canadian and Mexican as well. If you are Mexican or Canadian here, we have some connection with a law firm partner who are currently in Buffalo, New York, specialized TN and Canadian Mexican as well.
Hmm. And
Mhm.
TN visa is usually processed pretty fast. So if you're Canadian and Mexican, you can reach out to your employer and say, "Oh, actually, I can use TN visa to come over to work." Then that will make the process a little bit smoother as well. And if you're international student studying nursing, like if you think about second career, switch to nursing, or you're already really passionate about coming to the States to study as a nurse, you'll be on an F1 visa. And the program says like an associate degree or bachelor degree or even higher level of degree. But after completing your degree, usually I've seen a lot of AD and like associate degree nursing students and bachelor degree nursing student. After they complete their program, they can take before actually after they graduate, they will take the licensing exam, which is NCLEX, and they will get a OPT, which is optional practical training for nursing. It's 1 year work. Basically, it's a work permit for 1 year that you can work as a nurse, or you can switch to like a day one CPT program. CPT program is curricular practical nurse training. So
Mhm.
actually, I can only found one that is Master of Science in Nursing, that allow you to work from the first day that you're studying. So you're doing study and also full-time work at the same time.
How many
And
hours per week they can work with CPT for the nurse right now?
what was that? Sorry.
How many hours per week they can work
The day one CPT is full-time work. You can do full-time
full
work.
time? Mm-hmm.
And as long as so CPT is basically the program is designed to include work during study.
Mm-hmm.
That's so it's not a whole lot of schools that have this kind of program.
Yeah.
So from my research for Master of Science in Nursing, I think I only found one program in the States that provide day one CPT. And there's a lot of bachelor or like yeah, there's a lot of bachelor student who get the OPT that's only 1 year long, and then they switch to the day one CPT Master of Science in Nursing to maintain
Mm-hmm.
another 2 more years of work. So they can work 3 years in total after they graduate from the bachelor degree.
Yes.
And yeah, this is how people can stay and work in the States for like limited time.
Yeah.
And yes, and ultimately we want to get the EB-3, which is called Employment-Based Category 3 visa. And nursing is under skilled workers, registered nurse. And so this is a permanent residency visa for actually skilled workers. So, but registered nurses are one of them, and they're actually prioritized on the Schedule A, we call it. So the employer, when they're filing a EB-3 visa for the nurses, they can skip a little bit steps and save a little bit time. Um, so, but in order to apply for the EB-3 visa, you have to find an employer that is eligible to file EB-3 for you, and you have to talk them or like you have to find an employer that is willing and eligible to sponsor you for a permanent resident permanent residence, so you
Yes.
can.
Okay.
Yeah. Mhm.
So, for this EB3 skill, I get quick question right here. Do most of the time do these criteria prefer the student who graduate bachelor degree or
Oh,
higher
actually,
education, or do we can do like associate degree nurse as well?
I actually have it here. So
Okay.
theoretically, you can apply for EB-3 visa with the associate degree in nursing, and like legally, yes, you're eligible for that. But the market has been kind of changing recently. So I think during COVID, they would take whoever, like they would take ADN, they would take BSN. And like for the last 1 or 2 years, I believe it's like a market demand, like hospitals, they just want a bachelor degree because they have to wait 2, 3 years for the nurse to come over and they want to pick they want to have a BSN instead of a ADN.
Okay.
But
So
like,
you
yeah, yeah.
like legally can do associate degree as well, and then but right now the market have high demand on bachelor degree in nursing.
Yes, yes. And I've tried to help some nurses with associate degree to find opportunities, and it is very limited.
Uh-huh.
I think I just heard a day or 2 days ago that they might be, I mean, there might be agency trying to get an associate degree, but I need to confirm with the agency again if they're really taking associate degree. So for overseas nurses, most agencies looking for about 2 years of acute care experience that is current. That means you have to be currently working at hospital at bedside because most of the EB-3 jobs, they are hospital jobs. There are some like small portion that will allow no work experience, but that will be skilled nursing facility, which is not long-term care, nursing home, in like a rehab setting instead of a hospital setting.
Hmm.
But
So, you mean that there are still possible for people who don't have bedside experience to apply for EB3 skill as well, right? For registered
so
nurse.
so for yes, yes, but they have to be getting a job at a skilled nursing facility, which
Okay.
is like a subacute rehab setting. And
Uh,
for international nursing students, they don't have this requirement. Because they are really they're available for work through OPT really soon after graduation, and that's why they would take international nursing students that just graduated from the nursing program right away and sponsor them for sponsorship. But if you're overseas right now, they will at least at least minimum. So most of the agencies look for 2 years of experience. And the agency that I partner with, they can accept 1 year of experience because while you wait for the visa, you will still be working at bedside to get your experience. And by the time you come to the States, you have at least 2 years already.
Okay, that's right. That's correct. Mhm.
So first of all, if you want to go through this pathway, you have to get your US RN license. And so in the US, we have 50 states, so we have 50 board of nursing. So you have to first of all decide, not really decide, but there's some states that have more lenient requirements and process for international nurses to get their license. The common states will be New York, Texas,
Mhm.
Washington State. Some of them, like, yeah, these are like some of the common states that overseas applicant can apply for license because they do not require social security number. And and I think only New York State is the only state that does not require English test when you apply for their license. But like they will require additional coursework like infection control, child abuse, that like a short continuing education courses to fulfill the process. So
Mm.
you have to first pick the state to apply for your license and then go through their requirements, make sure you fit every requirement before you start submitting. I've seen nurses that pick the states that require social security number and started the process. And then they reached out to me and then they realized they don't have social security number. I was like, there's no way you can get around it without a social security number in this state. So you have to pick a state and be careful of their requirement first before you start the whole process.
Yes, New York is the one of state that doesn't need Social Security, right? And
Yes.
then Texas need NCLEX itself is needs Social Security.
I
Correct. If I'm not wrong, it's like have someone bring Texas NCLEX, yeah, to us, and then it's that seem like require Social Security. I don't know how many states that require that. It's kind of like complicated.
most of the states require Social Security. There's a few that don't require Social Security. So that's why it's really important to pick the right state to begin with, so you don't waste time and waste money.
Mhm. Okay.
I thought Texas got waiver but I have to look into that again. But I
Yeah.
personally got my license from Washington State first.
Okay.
Yes. And so when you're educated overseas, you have to submit no, you have to ask your school to submit the transcripts and the curriculum to the credentialing organizations. There are three that could be, actually there are more, but I only mention these three because only these three can do the visa screen. We call it a healthcare worker certification for immigration process later in the stage. So I would recommend to go through one of these three agencies because you save time resubmitting your documents later. So these organizations will assess your education background if it's qualified or eligible for the licensing in the states that you're applying to. Some states have like more strict requirements on the nursing courses, like specific hours spent in clinicals in different specialty. And so these credentialing organizations save a little bit work of the state board of nursing. And after your education is credentialed or like evaluated by these organizations and is equivalent to the US standard, then they will send a report to the Board of Nursing. And when you fulfill all the requirements of the Board of Nursing, they will approve you to sit for the NCLEX RN exam. So NCLEX is like National Council Licensure Examination for registered nurse, and usually there's a window that you can take this exam after they approve you for sitting for this exam. It's some states it's like 90 days, some states it's like 75 days. So you have to go back to like which state you pick and to plan strategically. And you will take the exam through Pearson VUE. It's a examination center that's across the world. Um, so they just started having proctor exam, which means you can take it from home instead of going to a Pearson VUE center. But like I personally took it in person, but I took proctor exam for my specialty certification. So so my proctor exam experience is they're very strict about the room setting. They don't want any paper in the room. You have to show them the whole room, like top to bottom, left to right, and back to front, and also under the chair, under the table, and showing you all your pockets. And they will have a person in the background while you're sitting in the exam, uh, watching you, making sure you're not doing something sketchy. So let's say I have the habit of like holding up my chin when I'm doing my exam, and at some point I covered my mouth, and that person is like, "Oh, please don't cover up your mouth." That's something like that. That's kind of how
Yeah.
my proctor exam
I did the
experience is.
course. I did the course of the test like in the person and online testing from home is differently for
I
PS.
I don't think so. I think it's gonna be costing the same. I haven't really looked into that part yet, but I
Okay.
think the in-person one is about 300, 400 US dollars
Okay.
or about 400-ish.
Yes.
Um, yep. So once you pass, so the exam is multiple choice question about minimum of 60, no, minimum of 85 questions now. If so, they've been changing the requirements all the time. But it's all multiple choices, and once you reach the point that they think you passed the exam, they will shut down the exam, so you don't really need to take like whole 150 questions. So I passed at 84 questions when back at the time the minimum was 75 questions. So it's a kind of interesting or like an unique, I would say it's a unique exam that they will shut off when you pass it instead of like completing the whole exam.
Hmm. Okay, that sounds great.
So
And
after you pass, yeah. Oh, there's somebody talking.
yeah, no, not nothing.
Okay. So after you pass the exam, now you have your license. So now the next step is finding an employer that will sponsor you for either a work visa or employment is a EB-3. So there are two models or two routes that you can go through. The first one is called direct hire, which means you find the hospital yourself, not really yourself, but there are also like agency that do direct hire. They match you with the employer. You will sign the contract with the like hospital, and the hospital will be responsible for doing all the immigration work and file for your EB-3 visa. And so usually the compensation package is same as the local nurses. That's a good side about it. And but the downside is most of the direct hire opportunities I saw is probably medical surgical. So if you're from a specialty like emergency department, PACU like post surgery recovery, or like labor and delivery, if you're from these specialties, there are limited opportunities through the direct hire model. And sometimes the employer might not have previous experience going through the EB-3 sponsorship process that will cause delay, and there could be hiccups. And so my personal story is I tried to so I had my work permit that I could go to work. So I just found a job that like pretty nearby, and because I just needed a job desperately at that point. And after I started working for a few months, I asked if they could sponsor me for like a EB-3 visa so I can stay here for a long term. And they said yes. That was I started working April 2022, and I think I asked July. as in July, 3 months after I started working. And they said they would sponsor me for my green card and in August 2022. And so they said yes, and they have a lawyer involved. So I said, okay, I'll just keep working here until they file for green card for me. And it turned out I don't think they filed EB-3 before. And until like 2023 August, I was checking in. Hey, I didn't want to be too, I don't know. I don't want to be chasing people back and I'm working there. It's kind of awkward to me. So I didn't ask until 2023 August. I was checking in to see what's the processing. And they haven't even started
Um,
filing in. Yeah, they did not. They just,
maybe
oh yeah, we just filed for your prevailing wage determination in 2023 August, which is like 1 year after
we
the,
request.
yeah, they said yes. And I knew that it didn't take that long to
Yeah.
file for that.
And
And
maybe never done before. Some hospital sponsor have no experience with that. Uh, when they find a lawyer, maybe not familiar with these category of green card
yeah,
as well. So it's take long process. It's happened before with us.
yes.
Yes.
Yes. So I knew the prevailing wage is another story. So this is a part that the employer has to do before they are eligible. So they have to do this step first, then they are eligible to file EB-3 for you. If the employer never done this step, they can't file green card for you. So I waited for another few months, and then in March 2024, I asked again, have we had a result yet? Can they file green card for me yet? Which is like I-140, the form I-140. And they still haven't heard anything back. And I was like, my work permit's gonna be expiring soon, and I don't, it's kind of uncertain for me and risky for me to wait for them. And if my work permit expired before they file the green card for me, I will have to go home. Like I can't stay here any longer.
Yeah.
And that was in 2024 March. They still haven't have any updates, and they're still waiting for the first step to be completed. That's why I decided, okay, I'll just get married and apply for green card for through marriage, which is lucky for me. I know a lot of people
People
who
struggle with
don't have
that.
this
Not everyone
option.
have that.
Yes, that's why I really wanted more people to learn and plan strategically to avoid this kind of uncertainty. It's really overwhelming and stressful.
Yeah. I'm struggle with that when I come with my first work permit, like L1. All my friends already get married. We have 90 day, right? So I struggle, so I have no option how to leave.
Hmm.
So I have to leave and then come back with a consular process EB-3 skill instead.
Okay, let's go. And so this is one of the like my personal experience of the direct hire downside.
Yeah.
So also another risk is so currently we're having a backlog on waiting for EB-3 visa to be approved, talking about 2, 3 years. If you're overseas, you have a employer that said they will sponsor for you. Uh, they might be the wait might be too long, and the employers might decide that they cancel your job offer, which has happened before, and it's not uncommon. I recently had a nurse reach out to me like last week, and she said her green card was filed in 2024, and but it's still not approved yet. And she just got a news that the employer decided to cancel her job offer. And
Mhm.
now people in this situation they are stuck because you need the employer in order to have your green card to be approved. And you don't want, so when you don't have an employer now, you're stuck that you can't process, you can't proceed to have your green card and come to the States. So at this point, you have to find a new employer, which is another like stressful thing. You don't know if the first employer would gonna withdraw their petition, then you have to file for green card with a new priority date, like a new application date again. So these are the downside and the risks with the current situation. So another route that you can go, we call it staffing agency. So the staffing agency themselves, they're not hospital, they're not a healthcare facility, but they will hire you as their staff and assign you to the other healthcare facilities. So you will sign a contract with this staffing agency. They usually will have more options for like location wise or and they will have opportunities if you're in the specialties that they will have options for you like I think one of the options is like some of people are from mental health, behavioral health, or psychiatric nurse. It's easier for you to go through the staffing agency route to have a sponsorship and a job placement. And so you can have a little bit more options. And these agencies are really familiar with the EB-3 process. Some of the agencies have done it for 20 years, 23 years, 25 years, and they have new nurses coming in the States every month, so they're really familiar with the process. So it's usually that will make it faster and smoother for the nurses, and you don't need to worry about something go wrong. It's like they're really good at it. But the downside is the staffing agency can they do all the work, they do all the middleman work, so they have to be compensated for it as well. So the salary will be a little bit lower if you get hired directly from the hospital, but there's always like a weight, like it's like a benefit and risk. If this is safer for you or secure, you but just a little bit lower wage for the first contract, which is usually 2 to 3 years. So the agency I partner with is talking about 5,200 hours, which is about 2.5 years. But if you
Yeah.
spending time off, that will make it up to 3 years. So so it's like you're kind of I don't know. It's just some people don't like the idea that their pay getting cut by some people, but these people did the work for you and ensure you can come to the States and work. And so it's it's a business. It's it's a business that existed for decades, and that's a reason that they existed because it solved people problems, solved the hospital problem that they don't need to go through the immigration work themselves, and solved the problem that nurses um, uh, don't need to work that hard to find placement.
Mhm.
So after you find a job and they file green card for you, one more thing you need to do is to get the healthcare worker certification. So it is a requirement by the USCIS, the Immigration Authority in the States. This is a certification that verify your education and the qualification are up to the requirement. And it's basically you need to submit the documents you submitted earlier when you're applying for your NCLEX license exam, and plus the US licensing. So this process is relatively simple. You just need to have this certification latest at the if you're going through consular process, which means you're applying overseas, the latest you have to have this certification at the embassy interview. You're able to show it to the embassy officer. And if you're within the States, you usually submit this with the adjustment of status application that is like I-480 485, I-485. So there are few names for this certification name. It depends on which agency you're going through to apply for this certification. So that if you're going through True Merit, they call it visa screen, which is what most people hear about because they're it just visa screen is so common that it became the name of healthcare worker certification. But you can actually get this certification through other organization as well. If you're going through Joseph Silney and Associates, they call it visa for nurses. And if you go through IEE International Education, no, Education Evaluation, yes, IEE, they call it Global Bridge. So it's different names, but it's actually the same thing, healthcare worker certification. So there's are options that you can get this certification. So
Mhm.
for to get a to get a healthcare worker certification, you have to pass English test if your education is not completed in English or not from a country that speaks English as a native language. So these are the requirements. Commonly, people recommend IELTS and TOEFL, OET. Some people will take PTE, but one thing to note is that when you're coming to the States and if you need to transfer your endorse your license to another state, you have to go back to the Board of Nursing to look at what they accept. Most of the Board of Nursing will accept IELTS and TOEFL and OET. Not a whole lot would accept PTE for Board of Nursing. So even if you have the healthcare worker certification passed with PTE, you still need to take another exam so that you can change your license to another state. So I mentioned priority date earlier. So priority date is the date that you apply, your employer apply, no, actually, the date that your application for green card was received by the USCIS. So your employer had to send the whole package, application package in. And when the USCIS receive the package, that will be your priority date. That means your application date. And and there's so the US, not USCIS, but the US government will release US bulletin. It's kind of a monthly thing to show that what like which applicants they're processing at this point. They can actually just show the example. So if anybody is kind of familiar with Visa Bulletin, they just released it last week for the next month visa bulletin. Like, let's say we're talking about a category 3, so it's the employment-based third category skilled work visas, and they have it separate queues for different applicants from different place of birth. So if you're from, let's say India, they're processing or approving green card applications back in 2013. That's what we call it retrogression backlog as well, because they have different limits for each queue. So when the applicant's number is overwhelming, exceeded the limit, they will cause backlog. And that's why they're moving slowly on different queues. And if you're not from mainland China, not from India, not from Mexico, not from the Philippines, you're under the queue that's called all chargeability areas except those listed. That means you follow the first queue. And just so we're currently they're processing applicants from 2024 June 1st. So we're talking about 2 years of wait time, 2 years, 2.5 years of wait time for you from the day that you apply for your green card to actually have your green card approved. So this is your backlog we're talking about. And they also have the dates of filing. So if you're within the states, and this is really great news because they just have it to current, which means they don't have backlog for the EB-3 skilled workers for the next month. And if you're within the states right now, you can already start preparing your document and submit it, and you can apply for the work permit while you're waiting for the green card approval. So I asked before I have this webinar, I asked a little bit what people want to learn about, want to hear about. People are interested knowing like how much should they budget to come to the States. So to get a license and get an English test, it depends on how many times you take it. Some people take it like pass it on the first time, and that in total and all the credentialing it will be about 1,000 US dollars, like maximum 2,000 US dollars. That will be done the whole process. And when you find an employer, most of the employers or staffing agency they will fund the whole immigration legal fees and attorney fees, and some of them even sponsor for your flight ticket to the States. And the first month rent, they will provide accommodation for you for the first month. And the staffing agency I partner with, they will give you a stipend for first month, or like until you can start working in the hospital. And it's like talking about $200 of the stipend every week that you don't need to worry about buying food and whatnot. So the big expense I can think of is like you have to get most of the places you go to in the States, you will need to get a car. So it depends on if you get a first new car or like second-hand car. If it's a new car, like minimum, I would say around $25,000 will be pretty safe. And yeah, I got my first car around $25,000. That was back in 2022. And if you need to rent a place, US most from my understanding, most of the places they take 1 month deposit, and so that will be around $1,000, $2,000, depends on like where you're renting from. I would definitely suggest just renting maybe a apartment at first, and then later when you settle down, you
Mm-hmm.
can decide where you want to live. And furniture wise, you can add a furniture. Mattress is few $100. The frames few $100. So I think little things add up. But if you want to play safe, I think $40,000. If you don't want to buy a new car, like full paid, maybe $40,000 pretty safe. Oh, yeah. But like there's also auto loan that you can borrow money to buy a car as well. So if you don't have this budget, it's totally fine. People's done it before and they survive it without bringing that much money over. And and when usually, so for my staffing agency, the first month when you arrive, they will provide you some clinical adaptation program that teach you, have some simulation lab that kind of show you how they do work, actually do the job in the United States, and they will give you some orientation. And that's actually the same time that they're processing, getting your social security number and getting your license to the transfer to the states that you're assigned to work to. So the staffing agency will take care of all that, and while you're focusing on learning the new clinical skills or like adapting to the new clinical environment. And when you have your license ready, they will send you to the state that you're assigned to work. And and so in the US, so you'll probably start working the second month or the third month already. It's pretty quick. And oh, what was I thinking? And so the US paycheck for nurses is usually every two weeks. So you'll probably get so after you start working, you'll probably get your first paycheck at the third week already. So you don't need to worry much about cash flow problem. And for clinical practice, like I said, some, most, or less some, but like the good agencies, they will provide the clinical orientation program or transition program for you that you can learn the difference and get adapt to the nursing practice in the US system. And there are some cultural adaptation that will take a while to learn. For me, sometimes I'm still kind of adapting to the culture here, like the small talk or like the topics that people like to talk, or like or like how you interact with patients is different in the US for me. Just time that you need to spend time on working on it. And after you've done the orientation program by this agency, and when you get to the hospital will have their own orientation as well. That you'll learn about their policies, their their protocols or procedures or expectations at that particular facility.
Mm-hmm.
So I said I established the guided journey global careers. So I provide one-to-one coaching to guide you through the whole process. And like I can help to review your resume to repackage it into like a US standard. So the US employers can understand your background easier. And I provide mock interview preparation. And like I said, I have partnership with one of the staffing agencies, so I can refer you to them as well. And if you get multiple offers that you're trying to decide which one to choose, I can help you give you some more context on how different states are like or like the living costs. And if you're like in the process, you're in the process of transitioning and adapting to the new environment, I can provide some support. And if you don't know how to get your driver license, I can try to help you navigate through the process. And if I know somebody that live in the same states as you or like nearby, I can also connect you with them as well. And these are the services that I provide. And let's see maybe a good time for questions. Do you have any questions?
Yeah, please feel free to drop all your question in here, and I going to send email of and company email to you guys so you can reach out to
Yes.
ask for information as well. But someone asking for presentation, we will provide this video recording later after about hour after we finish this video. So right here in the chat it was and company email. So if you have any
Yep.
question, just go ahead, contact her. And yeah, I think everyone, some of 80% of portion of or the audience here is F1 student. Let me know if you are already F1 student or have a study nurse degree in the US right now. We want to know how you plan about your career path in the US. And also if you are F1 student have to plan to transfer to study nurse, we myself have our education agency and also have a school partner that provide a class in uh provide program for nerd that can connect with your career path in EB-3 skill register in the US as well. I sending the presentation over about the school that could provide, you can look information that they could provide you class, bachelor degree, associate degree for nurse. And yeah, there are a few schools that we partner that doing that. And also if you interested with some specific school in your area, you can have consult with us as well. I drop my email here for SAR University Consult uh for the nurse who want to transfer to the um nursing school later. And do you have anything to add on?
If I don't know if there's any F1 students here. Can you raise your hand if you're like F1 student?
Yeah, drop
But if
us the comment if you are F1 student here.
Yeah, because if there's, oh yes, so we have F1 students here. So I really recommend you to plan strategically. I'll recommend if you're in I'll recommend you to start finding employers at the final semester. At the like closer to your final semester, you start sending out applications to see any options and just trying to get a vibe like how the market is and which recruiter you like more. Sometimes you don't get a good experience, you don't want to work with them. And I know a lot of uh, F1 students try to get direct hire. Like I said, that could be hiccups, and you have to really make sure the employer already completed the first step that I talked about, which is called prevailing wage determination. And you have to know that when they can file the green card for you, because they say, "Oh, I will file a green card for you," but like who knows when? Like you have only 1 year of OPT. If your OPT ends and you don't have green card filed, you have to find a way to stay, like going back to school and whatnot. So you really need to plan strategically, and you can also reach out to me, and we can talk a little bit longer, deeper to see what's gonna be good for your situation.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and also if you are F1 student who not in nurse degree right now and planning to change your career and your study program, feel free to let us know. We could help to find the school, even if not in our university partner. Yeah, we plan for you. I will send. Yeah, hi Andrew. Andrew is my F1 student who plan to transfer to nursing school as well. So we going to plan after his F1 change of status approved. So we transfer to his local community college or either of or the university that we have in the partner that's supporting NCLEX exam, anything like that as well. But all the F1 here, I believe they have everything that patient that they urge themselves to come to join our webinar today to see the career path. Nurse is one of occupation in the US that you can find sponsor to sponsor the green card easy than the other career. Like I would say compare nurse with software engineer nurse probably have more sponsor than that. And I experienced working with New York um OPT student. So once they find OPT hospital or rehab or nursing home, they're going to get the offer for EB-3 skill sponsor as well. So it means like if you are really good performance, have good performance working at have good performance working at your workplace during the OPT. So yeah, you can be able to get the sponsor by the hospital or the nursing home that you already have your OPT on as well. And the contract we sign right after that you are on OPT. But the thing is, like Anne said, there are how many year contract commitment to you. But some hospital we offer you that let's we some staffing agency we offer you this. Let's give you 50 per hour during your CPT, but you will not have a vacation or anything, and also health insurance that which is gonna be higher than estimate than usually people get in New York. But yeah, it's come with some condition like, okay, maybe you have less holiday, you have less vacation, that which is happy with some of our students here, and plus they sign agreement of EB-3 skill register nurse right after. I mean, during the OPT as well. But the commitment will start counting after you receive EAD card and Social Security for EB-3 skill. So it means like it's not start counting that, hey, let's say sponsor say you are need to work with them for 3 years, and then when it start, you already start OPT with them, they not count that, they're going to count the first day that you have EB-3 skill OPT or EB-3 skill EAD, and then they count from that day 1 to 3 year to be like, yeah, you succeed the hour that you we requirement for, you can move anywhere else. So some stuff like that. New York is a city that require a lot of nurse in nursing home. I experienced working with multiple agency before, but yeah. New York NCLEX certificate. If you are looking for test NCLEX here, if you are already be a nurse from other country, you know that New York board certificate is one of the state that not recruits or not require Social Security. So look on that if you plan to study or to test and click exam as well. And yeah, for English exam, like Anne say, most of my clients take PTE because they tend to say like it's gonna be a little bit easy. But for me, if you plan to move from some state that take PTE to not take PTE states. So I would suggest like go ahead do IEL instead, study English a little bit more, do IEL, so it could be better. But if you come from those countries already use English for English base for everyday life, like like the English is the first language, so that should not be your problem. Like you came from UK, Australian, so that English should not be a problem. But like Anne said before, if you are tend to move from some state that would accept PTE to another state in another 3 years later after finish the contract, during the process of endorsement, you're gonna have to retake English exam. So I would say like, let's go ahead, take it now at the first beginning of start. If you're gonna try to do like a multi-state license, so let would say like doing like IL, maybe the first option of testing English right now for people who come from the country that not use English as the first language. Hmm. Yeah.
So So I can add a little bit on the multi-state license we call compact license. So actually, there's some few conditions you need to fulfill. The first thing you have to have, usually you need to have your social security number. The second is you have to have your primary residence in that state, which is within compact states. We have like about closer to 40 states now. That is compact states, which means you have to provide proof that you primarily live in a compact state. So if you live in California, California is not a compact state. If you live in California, you're not eligible for compact license. So you have to have proof that you live there, usually like your address, your home address, your bank statements go into that address. Then you can apply for a compact license.
Yes, that thank you for sharing that information. I mean, I'm not a nurse, but I do take some time to understand what a multi-state license is for a while. But yeah, maybe everyone here is new, just like we do in the past as well. So this is a good information that you could have it before you start thinking like where we state that you get going to take the NCLEX exam. But I wish everyone have good information here. Feel free to let us know if you need appointment with us to have private consult both EB-3 skill consultation with Anne or both school or university consultation to go transfer to nursing school program. Let us know. We were really hard on that. I used to do a lot of employment-based immigration before, and then tend to specific in our healthcare worker industry right now because I do love it. My family, all of them came from healthcare warrior. So I know how hard you guys working. But thank you so much to join this video and we hope to see you in a future webinar as well. We come out with some webinar that could be helpful for everyone, student who try to pursue their dream to become a nurse in the US and also consular processing. Right now, I don't have anything to share about ban and pausing country. The lawsuit is still going on, but we do not have any update yet regarding of some circumstance. Yeah, let us know if you keep in touch. And I think she have really good communication in a Facebook group everywhere that you have the nurse or student to. Do you have your personal group you want to drop it here so we could share?
Actually, I don't.
Not yet, right?
I don't,
Okay,
yeah.
we come up with that and send to you guys by email. I upload this video on recording and gonna send you guys by email at the end of the day as well. So if you want to get to know a little bit about presentation that we have right here, we'll send it to you as the YouTube so you can watch them whenever you have a free time. Yeah, thank you so much for Anne to give us a lot of informative information about EB-3 skill nurse today. I just learned a lot about your experience and thank you everyone, all our audience to join us here. But hope to see you guys again next time. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for hosting this.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate that.
Okay.